Hey, so we're working on the shorty some. Right now, you guys probably never seen because we didn't video it. We got the carpet put in, we got the door pieces put in, we put the seats in. I do have to get the seats steam cleaned still. And then we're gonna put black seat covers, I believe, on it. And I have to hook up the wiring for the power seat and make sure all that's working. We got all new door seals in. Right now, we are working on putting the door mechanisms and window mechanisms. Jason's over there cleaning window so that I can put the window in this. So anyways, that's what we are doing right now. Just kind of getting stuff, the interior type of stuff done. I see that I got a something wonky here that I have to fix. I don't know what's going on there, but anyways, we'll fix that. Must be something stuck underneath it, but everything fit pretty good. We cut the carpet, everything was kosher there. Obviously, we still have to put the wiring in, clean the dash, and get the windshield in. But it's starting to come along because the body is next door. The rest of the body's next door except for the front bumper. They are working on it right now. So this thing will be all in paint, I would say, in the next week or so. So we need to get the interior done, the windshield in, so that we can get, you know, all the body panels on. So what we are working on, like I said, is putting door mechanisms and that type of stuff in. The door latches we already have put back, but we are missing a couple bolts. That's not a huge deal, we'll find some bolts. But putting the door mechanisms in, it's really not too complicated. I'll go back to the other side that I already have it in there. You guys have never done before, it's really not that hard to do. It's just, so it's these 2 bolts, and then these 4 bolts, and then the mechanism will come out of there. And then on the window itself, there's 2 bolts. Well, let me go over to the window. Pull the window out. I'll probably do this all on time lapse because I imagine most of you guys are going to want to see it. But if you look on the, like right here on the back side here, there's a nut, or a bolt, I should say, a stud sticking out, and that's where the nut goes on for that. But not too complicated. If you can take one apart, you can put one together. So I'm going to put you up in a stand and we'll get working at it here. We're into a new day today. I gave up last night and went home and edited videos. But anyways, today we're working on the windows. Jason's cleaning stuff. I'm trying to get 40 years of coffee off the dash, basically, is what he's doing. In the video, you guys would have seen me, I had to pull this rubber back out because apparently I'm retarded and I put the wrong one on the wrong side. So anyways, the window goes up and down perfect now that I fixed it. But that's what happens when you take a truck apart and then a year and a half later, you're putting it back together and you forgot. So we got her fixed up anyway. So I'm gonna put this rubber in, window regulator, all that stuff. I guess I'll probably show in real time doing it. I'll probably maybe cut out some of the bits, whatever, but just for you guys that want to see, it's not really very hard. But let me get all the pieces and then I'll show you some stuff. Okay, so let's put the window regulator in. No, we can put the window regulator in first. So if you guys ever have to take a window regulator out of one of these trucks, it's actually super easy to do. There's 4 bolts, 2 here, 2 here. So these 2 bolts are these 2, so you don't actually have to take those out, but you can, it's not a big deal. And then there's 2 more right here. The easiest way I found is that obviously you're gonna have to either tape the window up or take the window out. But if you're just doing a regulator, you don't have to take the window out. You just lift the window up and then just put a piece of masking tape around the window with a couple strips on it. It'll hold it up. But put this in there is not very hard. So a little snake right in there. So something for you guys to note, if you look right here, see there's like a little tit that sticks out right there. You have to make sure you have that the right way. When you put it in there, you probably really should. So I don't do this that often anymore. If you put this in first, then it gets you in the right location for this to go in, which is just something I never seem to think of until after I monkey with it. Obviously I have the window all the way up, which is the wrong direction for where we need it right now. So we will let that back down after I get a couple bolts in. So there's, like I said, there's 2 bolts here, 2 bolts here, 2 bolts here. That holds the mechanism in, and then we'll wind it down. All right, so we got that in. Oh, actually, that's something for you guys if you've never done this before. If you take one of these little batteries, and you can put a little flat blade clips in there, you can use it for a battery pack for rolling windows up and down, turn lights on and off. Super slick little, you know, you do the 12 volt, you can do 18 volt ones too, usually hurt anything. But I would recommend using a 12 volt one because they are a 12 volt system. Like I said, the 18 volt I've used lots of times and haven't killed anything. I just don't recommend it because if you kill it and you complain, then yeah. Anyways, we're gonna put this rubber in there quick and then we'll put the window in. Obviously this window had window tint on it because there's actually still some glue right here. So we're gonna peel that glue off. Easiest way to do that I use foaming glass cleaner. This is actually Mopar stuff. Mopar or no car. Really don't have to use that. That's just the stuff that I buy. And then you take one of these razors. And that crap. Come off. I'm just going to quickly do the whole window. This is actually the easiest way to clean glass for the most part. You get a good clean razor, brand new out of the package. You know, we just use this one for cleaning some other glass, but you can see it peel that stuff right off. It comes off actually relatively easy. If you get overspray on your windows or just gunk in general, you run a razor blade over top of them. Even just cleaning it once a year. Most detailers, that's how they do it. You know, you wonder how they get the glass so clean. It's because they run a razor over top of it. Obviously, you can't do that if there's tint on it. But, well, you could if you want to put new tint on. But you can do it on the outside. Also, too, if you buy a vehicle that somebody smoked in, or if you have a vehicle that you smoke in, if you razor blade the windows down, you'd be actually surprised you can see again, because they get super dirty. They get dirty in general, but somebody that smokes in the vehicle, it gets really, really, really dirty. I'm not too worried. So when you're doing this, you kind of need to feed the window in like this. Obviously, you want to be careful, especially when everything's freshly painted. You kind of get to a certain point. But you have to turn it. There we go. Now, if you've never done that before, you might want to have somebody maybe help. I've done it a few times. I think that I probably should have put that in there first, and I forgot. So basically this thing is what actually holds the window in there from moving, and it sits, this little clip actually catches inside the window here, or inside the door frame. It sits just like this. But I forgot to put it in there. So we're gonna have to lift the window up carefully. And then put it in there, because I got to get it underneath there, and I can't get it to go underneath there. So the window's up a little bit. Oh, actually. All right, guys, so that's all there is to putting the window back in one of these things. Not really too hard. You know, like lots of this stuff, it's like I always say, it's not rocket science, but it's a lot of this stuff. I think is the big thing is that everybody gets afraid of taking something apart and they can't put it back together. Really not that hard to put back together. It's not that hard to take apart. You just have to take your time. I realize that sometimes that I make stuff look maybe easier than it is because I've done it before, but there's even times for me where it's just like, you know, I put that rubber in the wrong way or the wrong side, so I'd tear it all apart again. Sometimes that stuff just happens. You know, you don't do it every day. You tend to forget stuff, or if it's apart for a long time, you know, if you have something to reference off of, then go reference off of that. If you got another truck, or your buddy's got a truck, or your neighbor's got a truck, you know, obviously ask your neighbor before you go prod around on their truck, probably be a good idea, but you know, just I guess depends how good the neighbor is. Anyways, we're gonna do some other stuff, but I'll throw in a time lapse for that, and we'll catch you in a bit. All right, guys, so I got the doors kind of half aligned here. Until I get the hood on, pretty hard to line the rest of it, and I'd like to get the box on so we can make sure the cab is perfectly straight the way that we want it. So I figured I'd get that door. The door didn't want to fit. It doesn't fit just exactly the way that I think it should, but it's really, really close. So I'm not going to monkey with it anymore until I get the hood on, and then we'll final gap everything, because I'm not a body guy. I can do it, but it takes me a lot longer than it really should. Anyways, I put these signs on the doors, do not open the doors, because there's a couple gaps that are really close to each other, and I prefer people not to be screwing with it. Anyway, so I think now what I'm going to get into is I'm going to look at some of the wiring and see what we got to do for the wiring. I do have the windshield wiper motor and transmission to put in there. So I think I might monkey with that a little bit. And the wiring harness, engine wiring harness is right there in that bucket. Well, all the wiring harness basically is right there. So I think that I'm going to get into that a little bit. And yeah, so that's what I'm going to work at now. So doing some more work on the shorty, and I'm into wiring harnesses. So the wiring harness that I originally pulled out of the truck is this one right here. And it seems to be the best out of all of them. The only thing I'm just not 100% sure, I've never taken a wiring harness from a gas truck and put it in a diesel. Not that there's a lot of the diesel that really is diesel anymore, like as far as the wiring harness goes. But anyways, this is the wiring harness I'm going to use. I'm going to re-lume it. I'm not going to take all the old lume off because it's not in that bad of shape, but I just like it to clean it up and look better. There is a couple things I'm going to cut out of it. Ends and stuff of things that we are no longer using, so I'm not too worried about that. So we're going to chop a couple things off, and then I'm going to re-lume everything. I'll just put it in a time lapse because this isn't really very hard. The only thing, really for the most part, the only thing I'm going to cut out, if you guys are interested, is this, which is part of the ABS system, which the truck no longer has ABS. So I'm going to just snip it off right there at the end of my boot. And then I'm going to rewire, like I said, re-lume all of this best that I can anyway. The biggest lume I have is 3/4 inch, so hopefully it'll go, I'm pretty sure it'll go over most of that. If not, whatever, it's not the end of the world. It's not like the lume is in that bad of shape in most of the spots. So, but I'm pretty sure I can do my best to get it around there. Something that I did want to mention, so the plugs for the headlights. So originally this truck was a single headlight truck, and then the sports are a dual headlight truck. I'm actually going to build a jumper harness with the relays and everything built into it so that you can just plug it in. I'm going to build that for these headlights. So these plugs here I'm going to leave, but eventually the one on the passenger side, which will be this one, will just end up with a dummy plug in it. It won't actually be hooked to anything. It'll just be this one over here that runs everything. And that'll just be with a jumper harness. I'm gonna leave all that in there just because I don't really want to, there's no reason to cut it off. So I'll leave it on there. But I'm gonna get in there. We'll get all this wire loomed up. This is the wire loom I use. I can't remember, I wanna say it was Horse Torques. Can't think of his first name for some reason. Anyways, oh no, sorry, it was Greg A. It was Greg A that mentioned this stuff. One of his buddies used it, and I believe also Horse Torques uses it as well. But I thought I'd try this stuff out. I've seen this stuff before in the industrial world. Never knew what it was called. I never used it before, but it is definitely really nice wire loom. I will put a link in the description for that if you guys are interested in buying some of that, because that stuff is really, here I can show you. I was already using some of it, but it's like looped. It loops around, and it actually folds back around itself, but it's relatively tough. You could use this for covering hoses, electrical, all kind of stuff. So, like I said, I'll put a link in the description for that if you are interested. And yeah, let's get after this thing. Put you in a time lapse and we'll get after it. All right, so we got that part of the wiring harness done. That is all the crap that I took off of it. Well, obviously less the bags, but it turned out pretty good. I really like this loom. I think if I was building harnesses, I would probably want to put heat shrink on here. But being that I don't want to de-pin all of this stuff to put heat shrink on it, it would look really nice. Man, it would be a lot of work. But I think it turned out pretty good. I'm going to do all of the wiring harnesses. I'm going to do the indoor ones. Nah, I shouldn't say that. The ones that are in the doors, I'm not going to screw around with because they're okay. They don't have that heavy loom on it, but the next one I'm going to do the one that goes to the back of the truck, which is this one right here. This is the engine wiring harness one. I have to go through this actually because there's a few things I have to pull out that we don't need. But for the most part, we're good there. I do need to find an EC or a PCM. I believe that I have one. I'm not 100% sure. I have the one from the gasser, but I don't know if that'll work or not. So anyways, I believe that I have an ECM, but if not, then I'll figure that out. And then obviously the other wiring harnesses have nothing to do with it, but so we're gonna reloom that one. I'll do it in the next couple days. I'll reloom that one. I'll reloom that one. I'll probably do a time lapse of it as well. Just why not? Might as well time lapse everything. So this week we're going to be, I have to get the windshield installed. As soon as we have the windshield installed, we can put the wiper motor in, the valance, windshield wipers, the rest of the molding, except for there's a couple of pieces I ordered that we haven't got yet, which I don't think I'm going to put them on yet anyway, because the pieces that I need to put on are these pieces right here, and I'll leave them off so when they're cutting and polishing the body, they can get at it. What else do we got to do? Like I said, put all the wiring in. I got a little bit of brake line stuff to do, but as soon as I get the windshield in, which hopefully they can come Monday, Tuesday, probably not Monday, but hopefully Tuesday to put the windshield in. As soon as that happens, we are going to turn the truck, and the truck is going to be either on the hoist or on the floor here. And then also my buddy Luke needs some help with his S10. He's actually going back to work, but he has Miles of Mayhem to go on. If you guys have never heard of Miles of Mayhem, it's kind of like Drag Week, but in Canada. So I have to do a bunch of stuff on his truck for him because he just doesn't physically have time to do it. The race is coming, or the event is coming up really soon. So we're going to be working on his truck. We're going to be working on this truck. The rest of the body is going to be painted in the next week or so. So I got a bunch of stuff to do. I have to take this bumper off because he wants that on Monday. But we got to get this wiring in. We got to get the rest of this stuff done. I got to get it on the hoist so we can get underneath the truck figured out. So there's a couple things underneath the truck I haven't figured out yet. Some steering stuff, because the truck is actually lower than I anticipated. So we are going to have to monkey with that a little bit because the steering is touching. Anyways, we'll talk about more of that when we get there. But that will be, this week is going to be finish the interior off, get the wiring in, and then get it on the hoist. And then also I'm in a video working on Luke's truck too. Then he has his channel. I'm going to give him the footage to put on his channel, or maybe he'll just link it. I'm not sure. Anyways, I'm in a video doing that. It's an LS S10 with a 85 mil turbo on it. Has not run yet, so we're not sure exactly. We got to get it running and make sure everything's kosher because, like I said, he's going on that event. So, like, subscribe, hit me down in the comments, and remember, it's not rocket science.